So once again, we are back on Pushpalata LearnEd Live Expert Talks. Hi and hello everyone. Happy evening. This is Xavier from Pushpalata Vidya Mandir on Pushpalata LearnEd Live Expert Talks. I welcome everyone on behalf of Pushpalata Schools. We hope that all are safe and fine with good health. Stay safe and stay healthy. We meet different personalities from different fields on each live session, but today's session is a little bit different. How about meeting experts who are the alumnus of our Pushpalata Metric Higher Secondary School? Yes, today we have here with us two alumni of 1998 batch on our Pushpalata LearnEd Live channel, Mr. Platosen Samarasam, the founder and managing director of ZUWA Organic Farms Pvt Ltd and Mr. Mohanasundar Radhakrishnan, currently in Netherlands, who is an expert in water management. Mr. Platosen Samarasam has completed his BTech in Industrial Biotechnology, Anna University, and PGDM from Xavier Institute of Management and Entrepreneurship, Bangalore. After completing PGDM, left the Philippines to be the executive director of an International NGO ASSIST. Under his leadership, ASSIST spread its operation to 10 Asian countries, and he played a pivotal role in successfully raising funds of over 100 crore from multilateral donors, including ADB, UNEP, UNIDO, IFC, EU, and bilateral agencies DEG and GIZ. Moreover, he also teaches economics as a part-time faculty at our Pushpalata British International School since October 2019. Mr. Mohanasundar Radhakrishnan hails from an agrarian society in Tamil Nadu, India. He obtained his bachelor's degree in civil engineering, followed by MSc degree in municipal water and infrastructure from IHE Netherlands in 2009. He worked as a design engineer and was involved in the planning, design and implementation of drinking water supply schemes in India. He worked as a project advisor for German International Cooperation GIZ and contributed towards the preparation of city sanitation plans and planning of a waste to energy project in Nashik, India, and served with Red Cross in North Korea as a water and habitation expert in 2019. He would soon start working as water and habitation engineer with International Red Cross Committee, ICRC, coordinating the rehabilitation of water supply systems in Iraq. He obtained his PhD from IHE Netherlands and Technical University Delft. Let's watch their conversation and learn more about their journey through the Sustainable Development Goals. I welcome Mr. Platosen and Mohanasundar on behalf of Pushpalata Schools. Hello, sir.
Hello, Jude.
Hello, sir. Happy to have you on our Pushpalata LearnEd Live channel. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation too.
Yes, it's a pleasure indeed to come back and be part of what the school does.
Yeah, you can take over the session, sir.
Okay, thank you, Jude. Hi, Mohan. It's a pleasure to see you again.
Hello, Plato. Good to see you in a different forum. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It's been 27 years since we met, first in 1993 in Pushpalata.
Yeah.
And I think through this 27 years, I think I'm quite nostalgic now. There have been many times we have worked together in one way or the other. I remember when you were with GAZ, we had worked on a project together.
Yeah.
The sanitation project, right? So
yes.
I was on the receiving end and you were the donor giving us money. Huh? Thanks. I remember all that.
Okay.
As we start today's program, I think I'm going to do a couple of things, right? We're going to do 3 sessions in this one session, 3 parts in this one session.
Right.
And the first part would be to talk about the school. And the second part would be to try and talk about SDGs in general. And
right.
The third and the most important part would be to actually talk about your experience with SDGs.
Okay.
Right. Now, are you able to see the PPT?
No, I think it's loading now. Yes, I can see it now. Yeah.
Okay. Just before we begin, I would like to acknowledge and thank the management of Pushpalata. We have been associated with Pushpalata personally for 32 years. I think I was the third, in the 3rd year I joined, and probably you joined in the 7th or 8th year. It has been a wonderful journey since then, and no looking back at all. I also like to greet our alumni friends who are watching this. I know across continents and countries you're watching us. We are all pretty excited to be the first people in Alumni Connect to connect with you all. So if you're watching us, our greetings to you on behalf of Pushpalata and as alumni, greetings. The first part about the school. A school has been a nourishing mother to all of us. And I have a couple of questions to you, and I would want you to give us a very honest answer.
Okay.
How did the school impact you as a person, and what you do currently?
Right. I think this is something that I can talk about for hours and hours, as I've done with some of my friends here. But then I think I should first of all say that my association with Pushpalata school or even Pushpalata hospitals or Dr. Aunty, I think started even before my birth. Like I'm related to them. So I think it was Dr. Aunty who took me out of my mother. So I really have a very special bond since the last 40 years, I can say. And if you would like to ask me, like, how did the school impact me as a person and what I do currently, I think it kind of changed my worldview completely. Like, I come from, as Jude was introducing me, I come from agrarian society. Even though my parents were teachers, from my father's side, my grandparents were agriculturists, and we were mainly into agriculture. I come from a small village near Madurai. I studied in a small school there, run by a philanthropist. And then I come to Pushpalata school, thanks to my aunt, Dr. Maragadavalli. I come there, and the first thing that amazed me was the library. Wow, Blueprint library, yeah? Because I was fond of reading books. Like, I was introduced to books by my father and my grandmother. I used to go to the school library. We had a very small library in the village. But then when I came there, that was like this big ocean of knowledge opening up to me, I think that kind of started shaping my worldview. And then also the teachers. I think I don't really want to take up specific names because I'm afraid that I'll leave out some names, like everybody played a big role, right from our counselor in the library to Nalata Madam, who was at the helm of affairs, was the principal. I think everybody played a big role. And
right, Mohan. I can understand it. In fact, if I need to answer the question myself, I think the first thing I would like to say is probably Bharadiyar. The school introduced this great man, Bharadiyar, to me. And every time I walk into the portals of the school, I remember Bharadiyar. Thanks to our founder and correspondent, Platosen Samarasam, we fondly remember Bharadiyar. Bharadiyar was somebody who instilled in me a social outlook, right? So he always talked about being a responsible citizen. He talked about the privileges we have and what we need to do for the society. I think maybe at the young age of 8 and 9, when we were listening to him, he was a great man even then. So listening to him, I think, gave us this idea that we also need to contribute. Right?
I think I think if I may interrupt, I think I vividly remember one of the speeches in the assembly that Platosen Samarasam gave it to us. I think he had received a lot of complaints from the parents regarding the academic performance of us. Maybe like people wanted us to get state first and district first. I think he said he was starting in English, but then he switched to Tamil all of a sudden. He said, state first வாங்கணும், district first வாங்கணும்னா போடா போ global எங்க சில்வர் ஜூப்ளிக்கு போ இல்ல கோல்டன் ஜூப்ளிக்கு போ. என்னோட எய்ம் வந்து ஒரு நல்ல இந்திய சிட்டிசன்ஸ் உருவாக்குறது தான். So that is the reason I run the school. So I think that somehow made a lot of impact on most of us. I think we are really thankful for that idea that changed a lot of the mindsets.
Sure. Let me go to the next question quickly. Can you recollect probably one fond memory, for the lack of time, from the school or about teachers?
I think to be a bit light, I think I can. One of the funniest memories that I remember of the school now is the Tamil Pattimandram that we had when we were in 11th or 12th, I think. I was an aduvar, The Pattimandram was about நாட்டின் முன்னேற்றத்திற்கு காரணம் ஆண்களா பெண்களா. So Mariammal Miss, she really trained us to have a very kind of balanced way of speech, and finally the judgment has to be both. But we had Arunachalam on one side, and he was so fiery in speaking and putting the cause of men, And also, I was staying in men's hostel, and then I had this kind of funny threats. Like, tomorrow I have to come back after delivering judgment. So I gave the judgment as men, like I think the whole thing
that's funny.
Turned into funny. So that is something that I always remember, other than all the other memories.
Yeah, thanks, Mohan. Thanks, Mohan. One thing about the school that I remember is the school was not just equidistant from all religions. In fact, they were equally proximal to all religions. I don't want to say that they were equally distant. Distant somehow means far, right? When they were equally proximal to all religions, and we celebrated everything, whether we understood what it meant or not, and irrespective of religion. So it was a great congregation of people we were. I mean, and in fact, we all lived in the hostels. I think it was a wonderful. Okay, and my final question about the school, a little bit about from the school when you left, what was your journey like? Very briefly, and then we go to the next session.
Yeah, I think Jude kind of summarized it, but the thing is that my journey, I became a civil engineer. Like after I did my civil engineering in Platosen Engineering College, and then I ended up working for consultancies, for improving water supply systems in Tamil Nadu and in Kerala, and some in Northeast, and also in and around Delhi. So that's how it started. And then I came across one of the senior consultants who advised me to go to Europe and do this master's in water supply engineering. And then from then on, life kind of changed a bit. I started focusing on humanitarian aspects of water, working with NGOs on water and sanitation issues. So here I am, working mostly on water-related aspects and also on climate change. My PhD was on climate change, so I work on aspects of drinking water, sanitation, and also on climate adaptation of cities.
Wonderful. Just to say, I think I also had a tremendous journey. I'm not going to talk about what exactly I did. Of course, I did my engineering and then went to do my MBA. But after that, I got an amazing opportunity to go to the Philippines and run an international NGO. So, which gave me an experience of going to more than 20 countries before the age of 30. And that was a great exposure that I had. Thanks to the school, English was never a problem. Thanks to the school, reading was never a problem. I think it has been amazing. Okay, let's go to the next session. This topic for today's speech is about journey through the SDGs. So before we go into the topic, what exactly are SDGs?
SDGs, as you say, SDG is called the Sustainable Development Goal. This is a goal that all the countries, like I think all our prime ministers and presidents of the world, they came together and they kind of promised that everybody will be given an opportunity for development, and everybody might come to come at par in the year 2030. So it is not a political manifesto. Like this is not a political speech that where every political party promises, okay, everybody will have a new television, everybody will have free rice and this and that. They promise, they don't deliver. But then this is something that they all came together, they discussed. I think it all started in 1992 with the Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit. And then that kind of led to the Millennium Development Goals in the year 2000, which most of us have been working upon. Like you and me, we have been in development sector, we know about it. And many of us must have heard about it. And that kind of led to this SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. The main motto of Sustainable Development Goal is like, we all know that development is not uniform across. People who have access to resources get access to resources. It is like this Rajini movie dialogue, the rich become richer, the poor become poor. Like people who have access to resources. We are privileged. But there are a lot of people who don't have access to resources. So how do you take it to them? So the motto was leave no one behind. Like nobody. When you look back, when you are at year 2030, when you look back, there must not be many people who are left behind. So the governments and agencies, like private individuals, corporates, investment bankers, everybody is kind of focusing on water, energy, clean governance, technology, behavior change. Mainly. So they focus on all these aspects, and they're kind of trying to put in more in money and investments. Like I think, if I'm not wrong, I think the investments are close to about $175 billion every year. So that is the amount of money that is being pumped in to kind of get a growth where everybody gets everything. It is an opportunity for all of us to grow clean, and mainly to grow together. Yeah. So that is the kind of development that we are looking at. It is not just Platosen developing or Mohan developing or only my family or your family developing. It is everybody developing together globally.
That's wonderful. In fact, what you said is right. So let's go more into SDGs. But before we go into SDGs, I think a lot of people know that there are 17 different types of SDGs, right? So we don't have the time, and for the paucity of time, we may not be able to go through each of them. And that, I think, will also be a little boring sometimes. So what I will do is I'm going to show you 17 different photographs, each one of them corresponding to an SDG.
Right.
And the moment you look at the photograph, I want you to tell me what you think.
Right.
Okay. It need not be very philosophical. You can be. I know you tend to be sometimes. But I want you to tell me your natural reaction to this photograph. And thereby we are able to tell our viewers that these are the SDGs that we are working. And once this session is over, we will jump into a more personal journey with SDGs. Okay. Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, here are the 17 SDGs. I'm just going to go one by one.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, because this is number one, no poverty or varme olipu. Like when you look at the picture, you just see that, poor people living by the side of the track. But then, life goes on. You see, they're struggling, but then look at the smiles and look at the way the child is getting a bath. Life goes on, like they don't seem to have many complaints. Yeah.
Sure.
What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Not many of us are lucky. Huh? I have had some luck in the villages taking bath like this. Huh? Okay, let's go to the next one. What do you think, Mohan?
I think this is a very disturbing image. Like, I think this is no hunger. Like the latest statistics say that 1 billion people go hungry every day. Yeah, when they sleep. Yeah, 1 billion is like almost the population of India.
India, correct.
Like you quoted Bharati. Bharati said like. But then still, 1 billion people are going hungry every day.
That means you and me and a lot of us have a lot of job to do.
Yes, of course. It's a duty. It's not a job. It's a duty.
Yes. Okay. What do you think?
I think when I look at this picture, like it relates to good health and well-being, it only reminds me of a personal situation that I came across in Laos. I was with Medicine Sans Frontier working as a water and sanitation engineer. Like the pregnant ladies in their final trimester, or how, I don't know how do they call it. Like in those final weeks of birth, they used to walk 7 hours through hills to reach the dispensary that we had. Yeah. This is really bad, like we have developed so much, and then still there are people who does not have access to basic health care. So this has to be improved.
Okay. We come back to this later. What do you think?
Like good education, quality education, that really matters a lot. Like, is everybody getting a quality education? I think quality of education, it matters. It can change the generations altogether. Like, my grandmother, she was educated, and then it is because of that I'm sitting here and talking to you now. I don't know what I would be doing if she was not given education. So it really matters.
Education of the girls is even more important.
It's much more important. Yeah, you educate a girl, you educate a family, or not even a family, a generation that comes after.
Absolutely.
Generations, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, what do you think?
This reminds me of Bharati, like the coming out, being fearless, Achamilla, Acham என்பதில்லையே உச்சி மீது வானிடிந்து வீழுகின்ற போதிலும் அச்சம் என்பது அச்சம் என்பதில்லை. Because
do you know that I named my son as Bharati, all influence to Pali Shanmugamaya?
Excellent.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now let me take a shot at a couple of NDGs.
You have a say on it.
Okay, just for a change. Looking at this picture, I'm just reminded of water, elixir of life. Like this little girl, how many of us will be able to directly drink from the tap water? That's one thing that comes to my mind. And because this SDG is also about sanitation, we say 90% of India will never be able to drink out of tap water like they do in Singapore or in Europe. I'm sure you would be drinking out of tap water in Netherlands.
Yeah.
But how many of us, and how long will it take to reach that state? Clean drinking water in our taps. I think with that I will stop.
Yeah.
This is close to heart. Renewable energy. Close to heart simply because I worked in this area, and in fact we have worked a lot in this area in many countries and many projects, but also very close to heart because of the fact that Tamil Nadu is the leader in renewable energies, mainly wind energy in India. About 25% of wind energy generated in India is generated in Tamil Nadu, in Tirunelveli, Tuticorin districts, and Nagarkoil districts. In fact, we are surrounded by renewable energy. Yeah, that's something that we should be proud of.
I think you have a personal connection to it. I think I remember during the school days, you used to say that your dad used to convince people to give up the land for establishing windmill farms, right?
Yes, yes. In fact, even today, our farms are all surrounded by these windmills.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Apart from being a beautiful sight, I think it is something that we need to march towards. Yeah. Okay. Just looking at this picture, I mean, it's a beautiful picture. I can see mangoes, I can see women working, it's empowerment, and it is progress because unless you add value, I think progress is not there, in fact. But on the other side, I'm disturbed by what's happening in Delhi today, right, with Farmers' Bill and all that. How much of this progress is reaching the farmer? Just to quote a statistics I remember on seeing this picture, when India moved from its agriculture towards services, like any other country moving from developing to developed, India somehow is not able to offer jobs for those leaving the agriculture sector. And therefore, there is a lot of unemployment, underemployment in agriculture. I think that needs to change. Yeah. We need to find a way of somehow creating meaningful jobs for everybody. I think that's what comes to my mind. Okay. This is nice. One is agriculture, so it kind of is nice to see these plans. But when I look at innovation, I think innovation has been center of human development, human progress. That's true. But we also need to look at how innovation is going to play a pivotal role in development of people, irrespective of the region they come from. Right? That's where I remember, for example, how night vision goggles, I think night vision goggles that were used by the military have now been used for conservation of wildlife. I think our previous expert talked about it, and that is a classic example of how innovation, which was developed for a different purpose, gets used elsewhere. I also remember, yes, Mohan.
No, I think we also had a conversation about how these advanced fibers developed by DRDO and ISRO by under the aegis of our Abdul Kalam Ayya, that was even used to develop prosthetics, for
That's right. So something that was developed for rockets is now being used for prosthetics to, I think that's a beautiful innovation. Okay, so innovation is must. You need to innovate on all spheres. I think I'll talk a little bit about innovation subsequently in my own journey as well. Okay, and this is classic because first of all, it's a happy image, and I'm pretty happy to see this image. But on the other hand, I think it is imperative that we create a world which is equal. When I speak in the Pushpalata British International, I always show them a video and say, you cannot have access to resources just because you're born in specific families. And that is unfair. You cannot have access just because you are born in a specific family. And that is unfair. And that is unfair, that's okay. But it is unfair, you can't do anything about it. But what you can do is try and see what you can do as a part of your career, as a part of your life, to reduce these inequalities in gender, in races, in regional disparities. And there are so many of them in and around you, in your own family. And I think you are called, or you are a privileged person, so you're called to reduce inequalities. Okay.
I think
what do you think?
Inequality in power, Plato, like the power inequalities that we have in the society, I think that is really huge. That is something you have to focus. And okay, I see number 11, sustainable cities. I think this is the topic that I work on. Okay. when I just look at the image, I think you see a lot of park and tall buildings. So usually cities are mentioned as concrete jungles, like we humans, we are in the habit of clearing jungles to make cities, and we call them as concrete jungles. So when I look at this, I think, why don't we kind of create jungle within the cities? So why can't we have coexist with nature? Why don't we co-create nature? It's possible. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
that's what I think of.
Absolutely. Okay. What
I
do you think?
think this is a disturbing image. Like, I think look at the amount of food that is being wasted. Like, I think human being is I think it is the only animal that eats for pleasure. So the amount of food, so the amount of food that we waste, I think if you're happy, we eat. If you're sad, we eat. Yeah. If you're bored, we eat. Yeah. So I don't know when are we going to stop it. Like, one of my favorite lines on this is, like, I always used to tell my friends, if you want to live like a man, eat like a man. Yeah. If you eat like a pig, then you have to work out like a donkey to live like a man. So I think that this picture reminds me of that.
Okay. And about climate action.
Climate action, I think I'm right in the midst of action. When I look at the slide, I think I see myself standing there, I can say, because this is my favorite research topic, and I work on it. And then I think there was also a question on this. Like, I would say that don't mess with nature. Like, these are the results of messing with nature. Yeah, being in places where we're not supposed to be. Yeah, when you mess with nature, it really hits you hard. Yeah, and it hits with vengeance. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay. Yeah, sorry, it's a paucity of time. We need to finish it.
And life below water, I think we all kind of underestimate the need for the life below water. I think we as human beings, we are even a bit arrogant, that we rule the world. Yeah, but that is not the case. I think marine species, I think they outnumber even all the terrestrial species living in this entire world. And according to one of these theories, I think even life originated below water. Yeah. So I think there are beautiful National Geographic documentaries which says that how this pressure and this sulfur that is at the depths that is at the depths of the bottom of the oceans that kind of triggered life. Yeah. So we really need to be considerate to the life underwater. Yeah. Without that, we cannot exist.
Okay. Life on the land.
Life on the land. I think this reminds me of our previous speaker. Like Alphonse sir was showing us a very nice video of this wild African elephant charging. Like, we are a part of nature, like, so why should we be scared of it? So rather respect it. I think elephant is also my favorite animal. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. Two more.
But I think this is the symbol, like this is Kartikeya Deepam for the whole universe. I think this is a symbol for peace. Like it is more like, I think it was designed for this specific nuclear disarmament movement. Sometime it started in 1950s or 1960s, I don't remember, when a lot of countries started testing nuclear weapons. It was designed in such a manner that it is a signal for N and D in a semaphore sign. Like, you might have seen people holding flag up and down, right? So that is called semaphore. Right. So, and then it is also a symbol for showing our inaction, like what have we done, like, like raised hands. So if you look carefully, the symbol, it is like a person standing and raising the hands.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the thing. Yeah.
Last one. 17.
Last one, I think. Yeah, this is like from hopelessness to having hope. Like everybody holding together. I think all these people whom you see are international celebrities. Yeah, presidents. Yeah.
You have Philippines President Aung San Suu Kyi is there.
So, yeah. What is kind of strange is like Aung San Suu Kyi standing next to the Philippines president. Like both are kind of. They are at both two ends of spectrum, Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Poles. Yeah.
Yeah. But then you see that see both of them standing together and working together for a cause, for the cause of billions and billions. So that is what we also need. Yeah, working together for partnership, even though you have a different line of thinking or action.
Okay, Mohan. Okay, I think we have come to the end of the second part, so I'm going to go into the third part, and the third part is important, but we are also running short of time. So what I will do is, without taking the juice away, I want you to share with us some of your experiences, right? Here we go. Okay, let me share my experience being SDG 1. My message that I learned and what I want to convey is this. When I look at the wealth pyramid of India, and I'm not sure if you're able to see it in TV well, but if you have more than $1 lakh, which is equivalent to 75 lakhs as wealth, either in the form of gold or land or building, it means you are in the top 0.5% of Indian wealth. Let me repeat it. If you have more than 75 lakhs as wealth, either gold, building, all of them put together, bank accounts and everything put together, you're in the 0.5% of India's wealth, which means
most of us are.
That means you have a great responsibility. I think a lot of us in our school primarily will be in this segment, and which means we have a great responsibility. Every time I went home for my summer holidays to my village, and I will see that several of my cousins that year would have dropped out of school. And the next year I go, more cousins are dropping out of school. So I was kind of a very privileged person in the village, just because my father has studied, he wanted to make sure I study. So I was kind of very privileged, which means that hit me very hard. And when everybody tried to dissuade me from doing something which is important, doing something that is development oriented, I think the drive that I need to be there to do something for the people is what keeps me going. And so I think that's the message I want to give.
Yeah.
With great privilege comes great responsibility. And you and me, alumni, current people, teachers, all of us, I think many of us will be in the 0.5% of India's wealth. And we have a responsibility towards doing something for our city, something for our family. And I want you to remember that message. Yes, Mohan.
Yeah, but I think SDG 6, I think this is something that I've been working since 2002, I can say. Yeah, I have worked on a lot of projects in Tamil Nadu, like especially developing, we are mainly working, I was working for a consultancy, and we were mainly doing work for Tamil Nadu government. Like I have worked on water supply systems in Bodina, Ekanur, Salem, Thuthukudi, yeah. And then I also worked in Kerala for quite some time. And then I also had the opportunity to work in Sikkim and Meghalaya. And then I had opportunity to work with Doctors Without Borders in Laos. Yeah, so this is where the transition happened, where I was a consultant, yeah, working with corporates to humanitarian agencies. You know, like in between, I was in IHE Delft. That is where I got exposed. Okay, there is a world beyond water. You know, like I was a typical engineer. You know, we engineers, we are trying to think about the problem that we have in front of us, right? Yeah. Solve it, move to the next problem. Yeah, because time is money. Yeah, because that's what is taught to us. Yeah, don't think thrice. Yeah, think first what is positive, what is negative, act, move. Yeah, but then when I came to this UN Institute to study masters, I had kind of multiple perspectives. You know, like for me, water stopped being a fluid, and then water was life. You know, you have so many aspects to water. Water as culture. Yeah. Water is something as a basic human need. Water is dignity. Yeah. So then I thought, okay, I should really work with Doctors Without Borders or with Red Cross. So I kept on looking for opportunities. I came to India. That is how I started working with GIZ. So I kind of trying to create a path. You know, like that's how I started working with water. But then it is not that people like you and me are only working with water, because I think there is this one beautiful movie which is called Joker. A நல்ல தமிழ் படம். இது வரைக்கும் நீங்க பார்க்கலன்னா பார்க்கணும் நீங்க அதை. So it really shows like how a fellow in a village is struggling to build a toilet. Yeah. So maybe there is also a toilet movie by this famous Hindi actor, but that is a bit more dramatic. But then if you really want to see how a person in a small village in Tamil Nadu is supposed to build a toilet, how people are making use of a government scheme and people are getting cheated. Yeah. So, and that is something that all of us should see, because that is something very personal to me, because I grew up in a village, you know, like நான் டெய்லி காலையில எங்க அம்மா இல்ல சாயங்காலம் எங்க அம்மாவோட நடந்து போய் திருக்குறள்ல இருந்து வீட்டுக்கு தண்ணி தூக்கிட்டு வருவோம். So I know the suffering. Yeah. So it's really the situation now, it is getting better and better and better, because like I think as you explained, Plato, water was not really getting the attention that it should get, but now it is getting it. Like maybe Swachh Bharat Mission. Yeah, now I think there is also a scheme in Hindi. I think they call it Har Ghar Har Nal or something, because it is called like every house should have a tap. Yeah, that's what it means. Yeah, so there is a national urban mission. Yeah, so water is much more important, and I would continue working on this sector as long as.
I like the idea. When you said water is not just water, it is life and it is culture. I think that is true. So it is dignity. So which is true. We need to give the dignity to everyone in our city and in our country. Okay, let's go to the next one. What is this?
I think this is one of these pictures. Maybe what do you think it is, Plato?
It looks like a huge lake with a small boat in it.
And where do you think it is?
Maybe in Kashmir, I guess.
I think I took this picture in North Korea. Yeah, it is.
North Korea, is it? Okay.
It is a river. I think the river is Taedong River, which is hardly 120 meters wide. Okay. I took a picture at around 6:30 in the morning. I came out of the hotel. The hotel was right on the bank of the river. I was feeling bored, and then I just took the camera. My mobile phone camera. Yeah. Some normal mobile phone like this, this is the phone I have. Some Samsung something. So I don't know what it is. Okay. So I just took it, and then why I'm showing the picture here is like it was foggy. But then when I just reviewed the picture, it looked like as if the river was a vast expanse, So why
the sky has merged with the water.
Yeah, sky has merged with the water, and then this is not the image of North Korea that we get. Why I'm showing is also the perspective. We think of North Korea as some place where people are being oppressed, but then life goes on. Yeah, people are happy.
Life goes on.
Yeah? So you should not only take what media tells you. Yeah, try to learn with your own action. Yeah,
yes, dig deeper into the issues, and then just don't get carried away with what is being reported, because they want you to believe it. And I think we must have a perspective. The school has done a lot to give us the perspective. Just acknowledging the school. Yes, this is for me. Okay. I had, I think the year was 2009. I had this wonderful opportunity to do 2 projects in the Philippines centered around women. Right. Okay. One project was called as the Use RA 9262, where RA 9262 stands for a name of a particular act in the Philippines, which was supposed to empower women. Right. And so I will not talk about it. But the other project, which is also very close to my heart, was a project called as Justice and Healing. Okay. Here, I want to just recall one small incident, right? I mean, the idea is to convey the message. I remember one incident in the Philippines where I think there was a woman who was both deaf and dumb. She could not speak or hear, and she was part of a larger religious congregation. Yeah. And there was a priest in the congregation who had a relationship with her, and she was deaf and dumb. Her world was different, and she didn't know what was happening. And finally, when she realized that the priest was actually cheating on her because he cannot marry her, she wanted to come and bring about some kind of justice. And at that point of time, she approached the NGO that we were working with, and we did what is called as the Justice and Healing meetings. The very centerpiece of this project is when a woman who is a victim of primarily domestic violence, when she is approaching a court for justice, she's probably not wanting that guy to go to jail. Probably she's not wanting some relative or somebody to face harsh punishment. Probably what she's wanting is, if she wants that, then it is what we give. But probably what she wants is for that person, if it is a husband or a brother or whoever it is, to realize that what he or she is doing is wrong and repent for it. In fact, there is an international convention called as CEDAW, right? Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Violence Against Women. And that says in a court, when a woman goes to court seeking justice, the women should not be re-victimized in the court in the process of legal inquiry. And I think that was, yes, that's what happened. And in fact, that was beautifully brought about in this movie of Ajit, right? Nergonda Parvai. I think it was the remake of Pink, where the women who, they were re-victimized in the whole process of judicial inquiry. And so this lady who was a victim, I like to call her survivor, she said, I don't want anything but this priest to come in front of the whole congregation and say that he made a mistake. And that helped her really reintegrate into the congregation. The priest was allowed to go, but it was reintegration. One sense, some of you may think that is not justice. But I am begging to differ, and the only point I want to say is when a woman is victimized, you must see what she wants. Because our courts today can deliver justice. Can they give the healing she needs to reintegrate into the society? And so it is always important to look at it from the victim's angle and see what exactly she wants and give. Does our court give? In fact, the Supreme Court of the Philippines is so impressed with what we did that they arranged a 3-day workshop where we were called to sensitize the prosecutors of the Supreme Court about how to do a proceeding which also has justice and healing. I think with that I will stop.
Yeah, I think it is. I think that is what is sustainable. I think justice and healing. Yeah, because it is not justice or healing. Yeah,
correct. What do you think? Again.
Yeah, I think because I already had my views on it. Like how are we going to stop this madness? Yeah.
I remember you were sharing.
Yeah.
You were sharing about organizations in Europe.
Yeah, the thing is, because like here, I think what I used to do is like here in Europe, in Netherlands, where I live, we have this kind of an agency which is called the rescued foods. Like what they do is they kind of go to the supermarkets, the sorting centers of supermarkets, and they kind of take all these vegetables and fruits which do not fit the specification of the supermarket. Like they have this funny specification. Tomato should be nice and round. Carrot should be long. It should not be crooked. So all these things go wasted. What this organization does is they kind of collect all the vegetables and then they kind of deliver a box, a small box where which is sufficient for a week. It used to cost me about 10 euros a week. 10 euros now over 800 rupees a week. But I get really good fresh vegetables which I can use for 1 week for me and my housemates. So that's what I kind of do. It's like trying to do something minimum. And kind of being aware of what I consume.
In fact, even in Tirunelveli, I think very recently I heard, I'm not fully aware of it, that there is some kind of what they call as food banks that are trying to come here. So if there is a wedding or if there is some other function and you know that you're not going to get the kind of response that you wanted, and so food is going to be wasted, you can call them, they will immediately come, take over the food and hand it over, distribute it to people, orphanages and people in need. I think that's the kind of thing that we need. We need to buy only those things that we are consuming. If we buy more than what we want and waste it, I think we are adding to the worries of the climate. Right, so we are adding to the worries of climate. Okay, but let me talk about another consumption which is also very close to me, right? And you know that I run this company called the ZUWA Organic Farms, and we are into organic farming. There are plenty of questions that students had shared with respect to organic farming. I will take some time to address a couple of them, right? So our mission is to try and see if we can make organic farming viable. Why am I saying it's viable? Because there is a notion that if it is organic, it is very expensive. If it is organic, then I think, it cannot be productive. If it is organic, I mean, it is very difficult to believe anybody because when you go to the supermarket, it is labeled organic. But how are you so sure it is organic? So we said, okay, let me address the first part of the question and try and see, can we make organic viable? I was talking to an e-commerce director of an e-commerce company in India, and he was saying, why are you guys passing on your inefficiencies to us in the form of higher cost? I mean, does organic really cost more than conventional method? He said, you guys are probably passing on your inefficiencies, which is true. So what we did is in the first few years since we started, we worked on how do we reduce cost. And then we discovered that we could actually use nano inputs. Today we use nanotechnology, we use nano inputs, which has reduced the cost of organic inputs to about 70%, right? So where I was spending about 1,600, 700 rupees an acre per month, now I'm spending about 175 rupees, more than 70% we have kind of reduced. That's one thing. So any cost reduction is a price reduction, that's economics, right? Second, what we were able to do is, we said, why is there an assumption or why is there a kind of belief that organic productivity is low? Why don't we, if we need to improve productivity, why don't we do more denser cultivation? So we read through a lot of literature, and in a typical, we do muringeka, drumsticks, we do primarily leaves. In a typical farm where there are 500 trees, we said, why don't we do 10,000 trees? Then we said, why don't we do 25,000 trees? And we were able to increase the productivity where a farmer was getting 150 kilos per acre per harvest. Now we are able to get on average 350 kilos, and we have even reached up to 425 kilos per acre. That means more than 250% of productivity, and that's how we make organic viable and affordable.
Yeah.
Right, I think so. And in fact, to help the farmer, we said if we need to give right price to the farmer, we must also be able to add value and export. And so today we are exporting to a couple of countries in mainly Europe and Germany and France, and we have also started exporting to Australia. So this whole exercise is just not to make money. That's probably a byproduct of what we do, but we are trying to see, can we create innovative ways of doing farming that can be replicable? And I think once we reach the tipping point, we will be able to reach a lot of people, and organic will become a reality for you and me. It will come to our tables without much cost.
No, it's like going back to the roots, because that's how we were, 50 years ago, 60 years ago,
Absolutely. Okay. And so this is just a farm of, I told you, right, we do about 25,000 plants per acre, and this is how it look like if you haven't seen it.
Doesn't look like a cultivated farm, it looks like a canopy,
Absolutely. Okay, let's go to the next. Your favorite. Yes, go ahead.
I think it's really a good transition. I think even some students were asking, how do you mitigate climate change, or how do you reduce climate change? I think one of the ways that you can tackle climate change is to do the number 12, responsible consumption and production. It's like because we are not consuming responsibly. So like there is a difference between what you need and what you want. So what we need is very little, but then what we want is like we want the whole world in our hands. Traveling like crazy, eating like so that's what is resulting in climate change. And apart from working on water and sanitation, researching on climate is what I do. Because this is my second passion. Or this is my hobby, I can say. So what I have been doing for the last 7 years, since 2013, I've been researching on climate. Like I kind of work on climate adaptation of cities. Okay. இப்போ திடீர்னு வந்து திருநெல்வேலியில வெள்ளம் வந்துருச்சுப்பா, இப்போ எங்க போவோம், நம்ம என்ன பண்ணணும், திருநெல்வேலி கமிஷனர் வந்து என்ன பண்ணணும், இல்ல பிளாட்டோசன் தியாகராஜ நகர்ல இருக்காருன்னா தியாகராஜ நகர்ல வெள்ளம் வருமா வராதா, அப்ப தாமிரபரணி கரையில வந்து நிறைய பேர் இருக்கிறாங்க, இப்போ நீ வந்து தாமிரபரணி பக்கத்துல வீடு கட்ட போறேன்னு சொல்ற, அப்போ அங்க வந்து வெள்ளம் வந்துச்சுன்னா என்ன பண்ணும், ஸோ அப்போ எங்க போறது, ஸோ யூ ஹேவ் டு பிளான் ஆல் தோஸ் திங்ஸ் இல்லையா. ஸோ அதுக்கு வந்து வாட் வி டூ இஸ் வி கைண்ட் ஆஃப் ஸ்டடி வாட் ஹேப்பன் இன் த பாஸ்ட், and then what might happen in the present, what is happening in the present, and what might happen in the future. So we kind of run a lot of scenarios. After 5 years, what if it starts raining a lot? So now it is raining only in October, November. What if it starts raining in September also? How will it be? How will the scenarios change? So we kind of do all this modeling. It is very science oriented. It is very intensive. You need to run a lot of models. It is like complicated video games, We do
simulations.
We do simulations, and then we kind of come up with data, and using the data we kind of tell stories. நான் வந்து இப்போ திடீர்னு வந்து பிளாட்டோ திருநெல்வேலி தாமிரபரணி வீடு கட்டாதரா மூழ்கிரும் அப்படின்னு சொன்னா நீ நம்ப மாட்டா, சும்மா கதை விடாதரா அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவேன் நீ. பட் தென் இஃப் ஐ கம் அப் வித் டேட்டா, நோ திஸ் இஸ் ஹவ் இட் ஹஸ் பீன். 1910ல வந்து ஒரு பெரிய வெள்ளம் வந்துச்சான். ஸோ அப்போ வந்து தண்ணி வந்து அந்த இப்போ சர்ச் இருக்கு இல்லையா, எங்க அப்போ ஒரு சர்ச் இருக்கு, எங்க அந்த ஆமா அங்க வரைக்கும் தண்ணி வந்துச்சு. ஆனா இப்போ வந்து அதே மாதிரி வர்றதுக்கான சான்சஸ் இன்னும் 2030ல நிறைய அப்படின்னு சொன்னா then you have a reference. Okay, 1910ல வந்த மாதிரி 2030ல வரும். So you kind of reference it. So those are the things that I do. Like டேட்டாவோட கதை விடுறது, அதாவது கதை சொன்னா வந்து so get the data and then try to kind of generate stories and try to sensitize people. Not just people, administrators, decision makers, right from the level of prime ministers, presidents, city engineers, to somebody who is in the house. So to different
evidence-based advocacy.
It is called, that's what, that's the term, evidence-based advocacy. So we kind of help decision makers to do that. So that's what I've been doing in Bangladesh, Jordan, Iraq, and not in Iraq, Bangladesh, and Jordan, and Australia, Vietnam, and some countries. So that's what I do as a researcher.
That's good. Nice to know, Mohan. Okay. Just to sum it all up, probably I also want to talk about this because this is my area of work as well. I will probably just say one it's also an answer to some of the questions that students asked. They said, what can you do? I mean, you are just an individual. If that's the question, I think we had, I think, 5 projects, each worth 20 crores in multiple countries. We were part of all the projects. In fact, personally, I wrote some of them myself. We got it from the European Union. And in one of the projects, when we approached a laundry shop and said, see, climate change, we need to do something about it and all that, I mean, they kind of laughed at us, saying that, laundry shop, what are you coming and talking to me about climate? So I said, no, that's not the case. And I was not the one doing it, but my experts, technical people were there, and they told me the story. They said, no, they convinced the laundry shop owner, who was a lady, and there were 10 people working in that laundry shop. They convinced her, saying that, you can still contribute in a meaningful way. So she asked how, and they said, how do you wash your clothes? So she got a washing machine, and she watched them do it. And the point that our experts told them is, நீங்க துணி துவைக்கிறதுக்கு முன்னாடி அதை வெயிட் பண்ணி நீங்க உள்ள போடல, வெயிட் பண்ணி போட்டா என்ன, வெயிட் பண்ணி போடாட்டி என்ன, ஃபுல்லா ஆயிடுச்சுன்னு எனக்கு தெரியாதங்க, was the response. But we said, no, there is much more to it. There is an international standard on how much grams of detergent is required for how many kilograms of it. That's one point. So you are actually dumping a lot more chemical than you should. One. Second, in the Philippines, unlike in Tirunelveli, water also they need to purchase. Everything is privatized there. Power and water, everything is privatized, and it's expensive. So the more detergent you add, the more water you need to wash it out.
Yeah.
Which means we kind of convinced her that if she does the small step of measuring and adding detergent, she can actually say, believe me, after 2 years when we were meeting her, she told us that there was a recession in the Philippines, and in fact, her project was, her case was selected as one of the best projects in small category, where she saved a lot of money. Yeah. If I remember correctly, about 10-15 lakhs of rupees over a period of 2 years. It's a fairly large laundry shop, but savings itself was not the story. The real story was, during the recession, she did not lay off any of the 10 employees that she had. She said the savings helped me keep them. And that's what I would like to share. There's another story. I will not share it now, for the paucity of time. But what can you do as an individual? Try and see if you can stop the usage of plastics. Conserve energy as much as possible. If you want to switch on the TV, after switching it off using the remote, go and switch off the power as well, because these are like vampires, sucking power out of your sockets. I really strongly encourage people to go towards organic, but more importantly, towards locally produced food. Wherever it is possible, go towards locally produced food, and mainly in large cities, if it is possible, don't go by car. Carpool, go together as a team. It is a waste of resources, as well as it is a lot of carbon footprint if you are going in a big car and going alone. So try and gather a little more people.
Maybe I think I can even tell one small advice that Dr. Aunty gave me when I started working. She said, Mohan, don't buy a two-wheeler. Yeah, she told me, if you want, buy a cycle or walk. Yeah, don't buy a two-wheeler. I think I took it up, but then like that really made a big difference. Like it helped me to exercise, it helped me to walk, it helped me to save money. So it really has a lot of things. So these are some small things that you can do. RX center போறது வந்து நல்லா தான் இருக்கும், ஆனா டெய்லி போனா வந்து உடம்பு பெருசாயிரும்.
That's right. Okay, because of, again, we are running short of time. So we have about close to 10 minutes. So let me jump directly into question answers. So if somebody is interested to connect with us, here is the mail ID. You can reach out to us. Let me ask you the first question, Mohan. Why did you choose the job of a sanitation engineer, which is fairly an unknown profession, and what really led to it, and why the Red Cross?
Yeah, I think it's a very long story, but then I can say, like, I really had this dream of joining an international organization, especially UN. In the beginning, I told you that I used to go to my village library. In those times, you used to get this UNESCO Courier magazine. I think it comes once in 3 months or once in 6 months. A very colorful magazine. As a kid, like, I was attracted to the picture. Very glossy, nice pages. And there, somehow I was attracted to the image of these soldiers wearing blue helmet. That somehow stuck in my mind. Like, this looks nice. And then it came back to me when Chandra Miss was teaching us civics in the history class. I think that is when we studied about international agencies, what UN does. And when she was explained like UN is a kind of a world government that tries to kind of bring in peace. And I said, yeah, maybe I can go and work there one day. That somehow was there in the back of the mind. It was lost during my engineering. But then when I came to Netherlands, when I found out that, okay, I can also join as an engineer, I can also join Red Cross. I can also join Doctors Without Borders. Because when you talk about Red Cross, you always think it is doctors and nurses. You don't think about engineers, But then there is this huge logistics branch which runs the agency. Yeah, you need engineers to establish a base. You need engineers to run the camps. Yeah. So that's how I started knowing about it and I started working. Okay, I thought, okay, I have about 10 years of experience from my consulting years. So why not use that?
Thank you, Mohan.
Put it, yeah.
What do you think about nature, and what is the thing that nature has taught you the best?
I think, as I said, I think don't mess with nature. Nature hits back hard. I think the power of nature is which I admire and I'm afraid of. Yeah, because I have admiration and fear for nature. Yeah, so respect it. Yeah, we have to respect it.
Thank you. Is it practically possible to achieve all the 17 SDGs within 2030? And has coronavirus pandemic really affected these goals?
Yes, I think the thing is like now the recent studies, they say that we may not be like, even if with the pace with which we are going, we might not be able to achieve the goal by 2030. It might even take 5 more years because of Corona, because the focus is completely on Corona. But even otherwise, the question of can we achieve it by 2030, that is a big question, But then there are like 116 indicators. It is not just a goal. As I said, it is not a political manifesto. Like if you look at the 17 goals, the goal is not just a goal. Yeah. If you look below the goals, there are 169 indicators. Yeah. Which kind of tells you what you should be doing. Yeah. Like reducing the number of population that doesn't have access to medicine by half. So there are achievable targets, specific targets. It is not an ambiguous target like usual diplomatic stuff. There are targets, and many countries are working towards it. So maybe even if not by 2030, maybe 2035 or 2040 is a realistic target. Yeah.
Okay. Another interesting question. SDG 17. Why have they included partnership for goals as one of the goals?
Yeah, because that is much more important, because maybe are we acting together? Yeah, because for something to do it, like they say that without 2 hands we can't clap. You really need to come together to do things. Like coming together in the sense, coming together as an individual, coming together as a family, coming together as a neighborhood, coming together as a city. Yeah. Coming together as a state, as a country, and as a global citizen, at all levels. So you really need to kind of talk to, like what you learned in Philippines, you really have to bring it down to Tirunelveli and do it. So what I learned in Kerala, I can take it to Iraq or to Laos. So maybe make countries and cities talk.
Mohan, I am also reminded that we should not forget that climate change is causing international externalities. What we do in Punjab is affecting Delhi. I mean, that's of course within the country, but there are a lot of impacts which are crossing borders. So somebody is polluting and somebody is going to pay for that.
Yes.
And therefore, a need for an international partnerships to work together because the challenge is much bigger.
No, what did Maldivians do to increase the climate change? I think they are minuscule of the whole population. They did nothing, but they are the ones who will be suffering a lot. They'll be wiped out completely by 2050. Because of the rise in sea levels,
Okay, another interesting question. Okay, what is your view on veganism? Is it the most sustainable option in terms of reducing carbon footprint? A short answer.
I think it is one of the ways, but it is not the only way. You can't. It's not quite practical for the world population to become vegan altogether. But then you can reduce the consumption of meat. Like maybe the statistics say that you only need about 250 grams of meat a week. Yeah, meat like protein through meat. Yeah, but then are we only eating that? I think if you go to McDonald's, you eat half a kilo. Yeah, in one go. So maybe that you have to reduce. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, some questions on farming. We see a lot of products labeled as organic and natural. how can we ensure which is real and which is not? In fact, this is a very good question, because there is a real concern of the customer, and it is very difficult, right? Okay. Because organic is picking up, it is new and it is picking up. But if you really want to go for real organic products, then you need to go for certified products. And certified products are not there in the country. In fact, say for example, my farm is a certified farm, but my farm is so small, I will never be able to cater to even one part of Tirunelveli if I want to. Right? So in organic certification, we use a term called as traceability. So you cannot claim one product to be organic unless you have a traceability to the farm and you're able to prove that it is organic farm. Certified organic farm. And it is, in that sense, I think at least now, currently in India, it may be a challenge to identify a lot of marketing. It is purely becoming a marketing jargon where they say this is organic and this is natural. So we need to be careful. So my advice would be, if it is possible to buy directly from a farmer, I know several CEOs who tell me, can you please get organic rice? They're not looking for certified rice. They're asking me if I know a farmer who produces organically, and then I link them with them and they're able to buy it. So currently we don't have a right system, and because of paucity of time, I will stop my answer there. Another question is, why are farmers preferring inorganic fertilizers? Though they know that organic farming is available, is it really productive? Has the lockdown really affected farming? I think to all of this, I will say, people like us who are privileged, both from mainly from the knowledge angle, we need to prove and demonstrate. That is also the mission of what we do, that it is possible to do organic at a much lower cost and produce, if not more, but at least par with inorganic fertilizer. The moment we are able to demonstrate that, I'm doing that in villages in Maniachi, where for the last 8 weeks, we sent somebody to go and talk to farmers and help them identify what their problem is. And we're doing that as a service model, where we're trying to tell them, see, it is really possible to do organic at the same time, produce more, at the same time, produce it at a lower cost. And such kind of models, once they're established, I think a lot of farmers will jump over it. Now the farmers are concerned. I think I pity the farmers. They don't have the knowledge and they don't have somebody to guide them. And therefore, it is leading to a situation where farmers are still hesitant to go into organic. One more farming, because it's right now it's happening. What is your views on Farmers Bill? My views is, see, Farmers Bill talks about a lot of things, right? So I'm going to try and keep it as short as possible because we overshot the time. If you look at it theoretically, the Farmers Bill is quite good in the sense that it is saying that a farmer now has the right to sell beyond the mandi. He has the right to, for example, enter into a contract with a company, corporate company, and he'll be able to sell it to him. That is exactly what I'm already doing. But the question arises, okay, I am doing it, but how will the farmer be able to do it? Right? From the choice, will he be exploited? The second question in the Farmers Bill is also the MSP, So there is a minimum support price that the government has given, and mainly in Punjab and Haryana, where about 85% of cereals, mainly paddy and wheat that grows there, is being procured by the government. So the farmers there are beginning to feel probably, though the Farmers Bill does not talk about abolition of MSP, they feel this will pave way to the abolition of MSP. They will make the mandi irrelevant and make sure that the corporates win. And therefore, there is a lot of turmoil. There's a lot of confusion regarding the Farmers Bill. In theory, it is good. If the government is able to reach out to the farmers, convince them that they have a clear-cut plan, I think then it may work for us. But is that the way? Probably that is one of the ways that we know now. Okay. Last two questions, which are very personal to students. What ethics would you like to share with youngsters like us? This is the last but one question. What ethics would you like to share with youngsters?
Yeah, I think the ethics I would say is like try to be honest. Yeah, it's not trying to be honest. Try to be honest to yourself first. Yeah, only if you're honest to yourself, then you can be honest to others in the society. And in a nutshell, I can always say that go where your heart takes you. but then take your brain along. Yeah, I think then
Wonderful.
I think you will
go where your heart takes you. Right?
Yeah.
That's go where your heart takes you, but take your brain along with it. Okay.
I heard it from a friend of mine. Yeah, so I think that's what I would say. Yeah.
Wonderful. In fact, if I need to give my 2 pence, I will say just be genuine in all your interactions. Be genuine in all your interactions. Don't try to do things. There are no shortcuts. No. So be genuine. Make your interactions genuine and be generous. These are the 2 things that I want the youngsters of today to follow. I follow it. When I say generous, I'm not necessarily meaning financially give money. I'm saying if you know something, share it with others. If you have a connection, make the connection work. If you're able to support somebody, get a job, try and do that. It is not necessarily money. It could go much, much beyond money into making the world a better place with what you know, with kind of people you are connected to, right? So that's it. Okay, here we go into the last question. And this is a little profound question, but we try and answer it as simple as possible. How do you choose your goals? The goals you had in your childhood, has it really changed for you? I mean, it's a profound question in the sense that they're trying to see, now I have a dream, will that be able to last for another 10 years? What do you think, Mohan?
No, that happens, like it happens to all of us. I think that is a part of a growth, like maybe I can give you a very small example. Like 4 years ago, I was having a discussion with my PhD supervisor. Yeah, he was my friend, Dr. Asela Patrana. And then it was almost I was finalizing my PhD, and then I was writing the thesis. Yeah, the last chapter of the thesis. I told him, Asela, if I look at my research question now, it has changed over the last 4 years. So it is not what I started 4 years ago. Is that okay? And then he looked at me and he said, if it has not changed, that is not okay. Now it is okay.
Okay.
Then, because the thing is that we have not learned, like we are not really learned. As we grow, we learn. Yeah. So maybe the ambition is there. Yeah. But then sometimes you really get a different perspective and you go in a different direction. In my case, I think I came back. Like I know, the story of a blue helmet. I am still not wearing a blue helmet, but I'll be wearing a red cross. So that is the difference. Yeah. I somehow came back to that. So if it is really something that is genuine, you will always come back to it. Yeah, your heart. Yeah, follow your heart, but take your brain. Yeah, the same. That applies here as well. You will get back to it.
Yes. Thank you, Mohan. I think that was a wonderful time of connecting with you. I'm sure, again, greetings to our alumni. Wherever you are, it's a pleasure to see you all through this YouTube. Okay, now I think I will hand over the session back to Mr. Jude.
Yeah, I have a small request to you, Plato. I think I request that you take this and try to bring in more and more alumni. Like we would like to see more faces interacting with you because you have a personal touch with most of us. Yeah, so I would really like to see you talking with people so that we can all kind of get connected again and learn a lot. Yeah, thanks a lot for this opportunity.
Sure. I think that's what our correspondent Latak also wants.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, over to Jude, please.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yeah, that was so awesome watching your conversation. Started with your memories which you had. So the session was so good. So now let me hand over the session to my colleague, Mr. Sriram, to give the oath of thanks.
Good evening, Sriram.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Environment is no one's property to destroy. It's our responsibility to protect. Because of our greed and want, we have eroded the wealth of our Mother Earth. It's time that we go back to sustainable living practices and create a better world for upcoming generations. Thank you for throwing the light on this much needed topic. It makes our heart swell with pride seeing our alumni as a flag barrier. Thank you, sir. On behalf of Pushpalata Schools and Pushpalata Vidya Mandir, thank you so much for spending your valuable time with us. We are sure to follow the ideas shared by you on this occasion. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anjay. And thank you.
Jai Hind. Yes, thank you.
So you are watching Pushpalata LearnEd Live channel. If you like this video, just give a thumbs up and subscribe to Pushpalata LearnEd Live. And this is Sriram and Mr. Jude signing off. Take care. Bye-bye.